being let go, and the fact that he wasn't bothered her a lot. And she came across as pleading for him to at least show some type of fight for her, like, don't you want to fight for me type thing. And I don't think he's invested in her that much at all, emotionally, or like in terms of how he views her as a romantic connection. So he was just like, cool, he's good. Um, and then, you know, at the end of the day, she'd been talking to Donald anyway. So it didn't make sense to me what she was actually looking for. If she wants him to fight, supposing he did fight, and somehow she's convinced to keep him, she's already been talking to Donald on the phone since she eliminated him. That's just going to create a whole lot of drama. So it's a good thing that he left. Sometimes it's not always good to get what you want.
Thank you very much, Joe. Glenn?
Man, Kirsten was there so he didn't get fined. He was there so he didn't get fined. He didn't want to be there. I mean, he was just there because they probably found him somewhere. Production made him come because it was elimination. He didn't want to be there. But my thing was, Ashley sliding down the wall. She really said, "You're not gonna fight for this." No, he's not gonna fight for this. He doesn't want you. He's not gonna fight for it. He's not gonna fight for something he doesn't want, right? He didn't say. If you look at it, most guys at least make an excuse. He didn't make no excuse. He didn't do anything. He just said I was busy. I'm busy. Like, he didn't make up nothing. He wasn't like, my man, no lies, nothing. I'm busy. That means he doesn't want you. He doesn't like you. Because if he halfway liked you or halfway cared about you, there would have been some excuses, some kind of whatever. He's like, I was just busy. And you're just gonna take it because I was busy. I don't care what you do. At this point, you should have sent me home a couple weeks ago. Matter of fact, if I could have left with Stormy, I would probably have left with Stormy, but I couldn't leave with Stormy. So at this point, just let me go. And he doesn't like her. And for her to almost fight for him to stay, it was kind of bad for her. I just thought it was. I'm just happy it didn't get any worse because she was all up in his grill. She was all up in his grill, and bro didn't say anything. He just walked out the door. Was like, okay, see you later, peace. No harm, no foul, no nothing. He didn't care. It was pointless. He can go call whoever he needs to call and go out on a new date. He probably went on a date that night because he was happy and celebrated the fact that he was done. He was done.
There you go. When you see a brother in that position, because since we got men on the panel, when you see a brother in that position, like where he's almost so nonchalant, doesn't care. I know we said obviously he didn't like her, but before that, it seemed like there was something there. Or do we feel like he never liked her from the very beginning? You know what I mean? Because or was he just tolerating just being there? Because there seemed to be some level of maybe attraction or something because they even kissed. Or is that part of also sometimes men kind of going along with the program and not necessarily always, quote unquote, being honest about how they feel about the situation? How do you guys read that? Because there was obviously a few weeks in that situation. Well, a few weeks to us anyway, but it doesn't mean it was a few weeks there. What did you guys make of that situation there? I'm gonna go to Minister GTA because Minister GTA is looking, Sean looking like he's in GTA. Like you about to rob somebody. Go on, sir.
Yeah, no, I 100% think that, and I was kind of saying this from the very early on that he didn't like her, and that comment that he made about her nails, that said it all. And I think as men, if we don't want to be interested, if we're no longer interested, I'm not going to say he didn't like her at all. No, I think he did like her, but the more he saw of her, I think the more it was just too much. It was too much energy, too much, too much of the antics. And all of that rah 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 rah, what I need, it can be a turnoff. And I think Ashley talked too much about her previous relationships and what wasn't working, and that can be a big turnoff. Because who wants to constantly hear that? And that was always her default. I got rid of this guy because of that, and I don't just need the somebody handsome and good looks. I need the character, the overwhelming amount of compliments. It was just too much, and he just checked out. I don't think it was right that he hurt her feelings. and was a little rude and dismissive. But I definitely think it was heading downhill after that Stormy date. It was straight downhill. It was a cliff dive after that particular instance. And you'll notice when he was getting up to walk out to leave, because he was like, he let her finish. He didn't have one of those meltdown emotional moments that some of the guys have, right, when they get dismissed. He let her finish. He was drinking an imaginary bottle of water, and he got up and he walked out. And then she proceeded to follow him to still talking about, you're not going to fight for me. Clear indicators. And he looked right at her, like with the look of like, ma'am, what do you want from me? Are we done here? You know what I'm saying? Like, there's just that to me, he did not like her. Because in that moment, if he had like a genuine care for her and saw her as a potential relationship his girl, he would have hugged her and said, hey, listen, babe, I'm sorry this didn't work out. He would have had some some type of words to counsel her. I'm sorry this went this way. I really wish I could have fill in the blanks. You deserve somebody to fill in the blanks. He just looked at her and was like, lady, you're yelling, you're still popping off. You told me goodbye. Bye, 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 bye. I'm dismissing myself at this point. He was done.
Thank you, Sean. Minister Glenn, talk to me.
Yo, I think he liked her up until the point that she went off about Zadia. I think when they had a great date, their first date, they laughed, it was good. But when she started bringing up Zadia, and he kept saying, why you keep bringing her up? What you keep bringing her up for? Why you keep... And that right there turned him off. He was done. Because she got in his face, and he was like, you know what? I think he felt like he didn't want women to get in his face like that. He didn't want her to be on her face. Because she's a little bit aggressive. And some dudes don't like that. And some people are not ready to handle that. And he was like, you know what? If you can eliminate me now, go ahead and eliminate me. And I think that's when whatever like he had for her, whatever good time they had, he was like, I'm done. And then with the whole Stormy situation that came through, he found something different that he liked. He was like, okay, I can deal with that. He didn't care for her anymore. And for him not to text her and not to call her and tell her he's not coming to the party, that shows you that he doesn't like you. He didn't have enough courtesy or respect to say, you know what, I'm stuck in traffic. I had to work late. My dog died. Anything. He could have said anything. He didn't even give enough respect. After the fact that he already knew that she let a guy go for not communicating. So he was setting himself up. So look, if that dude ain't communicate, I ain't gonna communicate. Maybe she get rid of me too. I think it was all in his mind. Like, yo, I need to be eliminated. What can I do to get eliminated? What can I do for her to send me home? And that's what he did. I ain't gonna show up. I'm gonna ghost her. And even after he ghosted her, which bad for Ashley, why are you chasing somebody who's ghosting you? You're chasing somebody who ghosting you, right? I need you to leave, but please don't go. Come on. What are you doing? We see she showed a routine here. Same thing with Donald. Now she's going back to people that going back to retreads. So, hey, it's all on her. He don't like you, didn't care for you. But it really started with the whole Zadia situation. He was done after that.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I think it started at the Zadia situation, continued with the Stormy date as well, Stormy Gate. And, I think by the time it came around to their more recent interactions, he was already checked out. I feel like he didn't even make an attempt to call her or anything because he legit just wasn't interested by that point. I think he may have seen Stormy and been like, wow, she's fine. Ashley seems like she's attractive, but other than their initial interaction where they were bouncing off each other on their first date, I don't think they had the chemistry that was going to take them any further, to be honest. But like I said, the attempt to get him to feel emotion or feel sorry or chase her, like, it didn't work. And I don't think that's a wise tactic to use. If you want to be with someone, then just be upfront and say, look, you're feeling the guy and, whatever. But if you really are done with him and you've dismissed him, then he did the right thing. What's he supposed to do? Stand up there and protest and make up a fight about why you eliminated him? You told him why. You told him you wanted to move in a different direction. So at that point, he's got no obligation to stay.
I hear you, fellas. I can't lie to you. I definitely hear you. I think the guy didn't like her from the very. Let me not say from the very beginning. I think he might have been attracted, but I think when he saw, I mean, I remember I said this at the time when I did a video the very first time. When he commented on her nails, I think he found her attractive, but he found her ghetto. I hate saying it. I really do. I hate saying it. And you know, I know the lady's gonna get on to me for saying I shouldn't say it, but I want to be honest with you. So, so Minister Deacon Sean, Deacon Sean, come back. I'm not saying she is ghetto. What I'm saying, I think he had that premise of a thought. Okay, I'm not saying she is ghetto. I want to make it very clear. The distinction I'm making here. I'm not saying she is ghetto. I'm saying I think he felt like that because when he first started commenting on the nails, it was the first indication that, you know what, I don't like the imagery you're putting across to me. And then when she started adding the combative behavior by saying about, oh, when it comes to Zadia, it kind of filled what I call, quote unquote, and this is bad, but it is what it is. Unfortunately, it filled a stereotype. And so now that person then is like, I don't want this. You know what I mean? So I think that also played a big role in the situation as well, right? I think at the beginning he might have like tried to see how it was going, but then realized the nails were when someone starts commenting on hair, nails, anything like that way too early in the relationship, you already know there's a problem. You know what I mean? And it's the way that he spoke about the nails, not from an aesthetic in terms of they don't look good. What he mentioned was practicality. How do you even wipe your ass? That's what he was basically asking her, how do you even wipe your ass? How do you not have trouble? You know what I mean? Like, do you not have trouble in your relationships? So he started immediately, he saw practicality problems with the nails. So it's not the fact that she is ghetto. I'm not saying she's ghetto. What I'm saying is that she fulfilled a stereotype in his mind. And I think that's what then turned him away. And then from there, it's just little by little, you already have a problem with her. So you already started to see things are gonna pee you off even more. So by the time he gets to the end that we're seeing that really nonchalant behavior, and really and truly, I want to be honest with you, it's really nonchalant, right? It was really nonchalant. Like, and I'm talking about it's so bad that when you got like if I've been dating you and then you get to a point where you ask me, why weren't you here yesterday? I mean, it is what it is. You know I'm trying to piss you off. Because there's no way I have that much disrespect for you and I don't like you that much that I'm not even going to give you an excuse or at least a lie. You couldn't even lie. You know, there's some lies that we accept here, guys. You know, I was busy. As busy as a lie, but it's an acceptable lie. You know what I mean? For the situation. You get cussed out for a few minutes, you make it up to her, and you go about your business, right? But he didn't even bother lying. He didn't even bother saying, you know, hey, look, look, I can't lie to you. I fell asleep. I was busy from work. My alarm didn't go off. My dog ate my homework. Like, you know, my mom wanted me to come around and help her with the dishes. Like, he didn't make up nothing. The brother said, And at that point, when you say, you don't give a heck. You've reached your bitter end and you don't give a heck. And so, yeah, I can't lie to you. Yeah, that was disrespectful at the end. But yeah, he had signed out. You know, he didn't even try to even make an effort to say something. I thought that was really telling of where he was. And that's not necessarily that's on Ashley as well, not seeing the signs, but I think it's also on him as well, not being respectful enough to be able to have a communication with her and say, I'm not feeling it no more. Because you should have spoken up and said, I'm not feeling it no more. I'm not on it anymore. Instead, you let her kiss you on the lips, grab you by the head, you know what I mean? And you know what I mean? When you weren't really feeling it, you know what I mean? So I think he had to be a little bit honest with himself as well, that he should have also been honest about the situation. Be like, I'm really not here for this. I don't want your ass. And so trying to be passive aggressive and manipulate her to get rid of her. Because you know what he was doing. We know the game. Yes, Sean.
Yeah, I think that is, you know, and again, I don't agree with the way that he did things. I think there's a better way to handle it. And I think just we as men struggle with this when it comes to women when we don't have an interest and they are interested in us, because we're used to the ones pursuing, and then used to, in the instances when we're not wanted, we are used to getting rejection. But I don't know if we're, all of us are as skilled in how to, gently let a woman down. So I think he struggled with that. And then sometimes you have women, and I, Ashley, please, we're not trying to hurt you. But when you have somebody that doesn't read the room like Ashley does, it makes it even more difficult to communicate that message, because I think she's just going to talk her way through it. So you might be trying to say what you're trying to find the right words, but she's just going to talk. And now you're like, forget it. So I'm just going to default to, I'm going to back out. I'm going to either, ghost you, not show up, and just kind of be disinterested.
Appreciate it. Yeah. Before Steve goes, any other fellas want to wade in on that about how men maybe struggle with turning down a woman, as to what that might contribute towards him not being able to say to her, like, you know what, I'm done with the situation?
Yeah, I was gonna just quickly ask around, like, are we kind of saying here that we are expecting him to lie on the way out because that's what men do? Is that where we're going with this? Because I think, listen, I think if she's told him blatantly, you know what, in front of cameras, in front of everybody, look, I don't want you here no more, I'm moving on, that's it. Like, if he gave pushback, then, he's going to look even worse. He's going to look like he can't take the L. So, he did what he was supposed to do. It may have made her feel crap that he didn't fight for her, but at the end of the day, he doesn't have to. The investment's not there. Like, the connection's not there. So she's free to move back to Donald now if she wants to, drama free. She don't have to worry about Kirsten.
So do you not feel there's no onus on him to communicate with her and say he's not feeling it no more, JR?
I think, like, the ladies have the power on this show, so it's really down to if they are feeling the guys. If she decided that she don't want to keep him around as a keeper, then you got to keep it moving. You ain't got nothing to say about that. You can't change it.
So if he said that he didn't want to be on the show no more, he would be stuck there. Is what you're telling me, basically.
I'm sure production would try and either find a way to either keep him, similar to what they've done on Ready to Love before, or they'll make a storyline exit for him, like what they did with old girl from Ready to Love when she didn't show up for the retreat, and they had old boy Tommy come out there and sit down and pretend phone calls and stuff saying that she wasn't going to turn up. They would have created something. But yeah, he just wasn't feeling her after a few of their interactions, and it was up to her to decide to let him go.
Okay. Welcome, Seaway. We're talking about obviously the Ashley and Kirsten situation. I want to get your thoughts on that situation.
Well, can we just say welcome back, JR? They thought that we did something to you.
Yeah, it was Seaway. Everybody, it was Seaway. She sabotaged my Wi-Fi. Like,
where'd JR go? We were like, we did not do nothing to JR. He's always welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, this was tough. You know what? Me and JR rarely agree, but I'm gonna have to go with JR. I don't really feel like he had to do anything but do what he was doing. I don't know what else that man had to do to make it really clear that he just wasn't into her. And honestly, most women prefer if they do what like Kirsten did. Like, let me break up with you. I mean, it's a toxic way that men do it, but most women know that, like, when a man is just like being so evasive, annoying, not showing up, like whatever, he's just trying to piss us off just enough for us to like stand up for ourselves and get rid of, it just kind of keeps the ecosystem growing. I'm not saying that like it's right, but she should have got the hint before, because when a man like breaks up with a girl, it just doesn't be working right. So I think he was trying to let her keep her dignity and tell him to keep walking. Where she messed up at is that she had her dignity and then she gave it back. Like, she broke up with him. Okay, cool, right? Like, fine. And then she got back to begging. I was like, Ashley.
Exactly. That's the.
I'm like, he let you keep your dignity. Actually, I don't even like this Kirsten character, but he actually did like the right thing. Like, he let her have her dignity, and then she literally handed it back to him. Was like, you were supposed to fight for me. Like, no, this man was never gonna fight for you. He wasn't gonna fight for you after he played that stuff with Stormy. So I don't know. I try to take it off of Ashley because at this point, like I said, like 2, 3, 4 episodes ago, I don't know if she's going to be helped. But if anybody is looking at this situation, resist the urge to beg a man to do anything that he has showed you time and time again that he does not want to do. Like, that urge, just be like, and just don't do it. Just don't do it. It's not going to end right. If he wanted to be there, if he wanted to show up, he would do all of the things. He did none of the things, and that was all the closure you needed. That's it.
Kojo, I got a quick question for you.
Yes.
So are you ready to retract that foolishness that you were talking about a few weeks ago? Talking about Kirsten wasn't flirting with Stormy and that he had no accountability in the situation?
Deacon. Let us flick to pages Deuteronomy and let us look through those scriptures and see the brother was not flirting. Okay. Okay. Nah, I mean, listen, look, I was kind of being facetious. Of course he was flirting, right? He was flirting a little bit. Maybe it's not, I don't think he was flirting as much as people were making it out to be. He was definitely flirting. I'm not mad. I was being facetious a lot of times. I didn't make good TV and make good sales. You guys were fighting me, so But I admit, yes, he was flirting and he was trying to, do a little bit something to kind of get with Stormy. I personally think he was trying to. I think he was trying to get himself kicked off. Personally, I do think he was trying to get him kicked off. You know what I mean? But I don't think he was flirting as much as people want it to be. But I do concede he was flirting a little bit. He was, of course, he was. I would have been as well. Stormy's fine. Listen, you never know. If it doesn't work out with Mercedes, if it doesn't work out with Ashley, you can work out with sorry, Mercedes. It's because you're here. It's because you were there. It's because you was there. My bad. But what's your thoughts, Mercedes? Welcome to the conversation. My bad. Sorry. What is your thoughts?
All right. Do you want me to go by like girl, or are we just talking about this episode?
We're just talking about Ashley on this episode and her Kirsten situation.
Ashley only. Okay. So my opinions on Ashley is I want to work the equation from the backside. And what she admitted to the public was that she really has low self-esteem. She suffers from insecurity. So I think that part of the reason that she's hanging on to Bozo the Clown when he's obviously playing her is in her back, like in the back of her mind, she's competing with a woman, who she felt was a threat. I think she likes him, but she really don't want him. I think she's more concerned about the woman and fighting with the woman and competing and showing her that you ain't gonna take no, sorry, can I say nigga? Would I get you demonetized? Okay. Like, basically saying that like you ain't gonna take no nigga from me. And she tried to body her basically on national television. So I feel like Ashley is working the equation from the wrong reasons. Like she's not fighting for love. She's fighting to prove that ain't no other chick gonna take a nigga from me and on national television. And she admitted to it. So I think it's more of the woman and the insecurity and what she needs to work on.
Okay, I'm hearing you. No, I'm hearing you. Thank you. Deaconess Mercy. You're giving us some points saying that the women they're competing against each other. We appreciate you sharing that because the women do tend to compete against one another for us fine gentlemen out there. So.
What does he have?
I mean, he's a fine boy. Is he not a fine boy?
He's got the height, 6'5".
Mercy. See, we didn't give it a C-way of Mercy because these two are outrageous. I mean, ask them. They don't think he's a good looking. I think he's a good looking dude. He's a tall guy. He seems like a really good looking guy. You know what I'm saying? He got a nice smile. Like he's.
I like what's his face way better. What
Don't
is
sell it too hard now, Kojo. Especially with everything going on right now in these streets. Just relax on it. Let the ladies say he ain't hitting on it. Just let it stand.
He's not my preferred type, but I date all around the board. So.
I think Donald's adorable. I actually like Donald better.
He's very I like him better. You know, yeah. I'm not really into light skin, but that works.
Yeah, Donald to me is. I don't know. For me, like your personality, like I know these two up top always talking about if you don't like me, don't talk to me, bullcrap. But if you're sweet, honestly, I like you. You know, like something about Donald is like his energy is so nice and refreshing. That to me, honestly, it's no cap. He looks better to me because I think I like his spirit. Honestly.
And can I tell you, I agree with you, but that's why I date people who are like atypical. Because like when I was younger, I had a type. He had to be, 6 foot, 5 tall, whatever. And it was outrageous. Like the people that you were like missing by having such like they're very shallow, like non-negotiables. Whereas like when I'm getting older, I'm like, no, my non-negotiables they're more of substance. So that's why I'll go out with the little cockeyed nigga. I love how he sat to the side and like he did his thing. But I went out with him. Well, why, Mercedes? I never knew. Like the cockeyed man could have changed my opinion. So yes, I'll go.
He would have changed the way you look at things, indeed.
He did a good job. I've been working on this for like
a good person. Being a good person shines through. It really does.
These ladies gonna make you slide on the wall. They're gonna tell you what stuff who they're gonna end up with. Hey, who they're talking about.
On Madness, these two up there, not cockeyed.
Hold on, let me do a public service.
He could have changed the way I could have looked at something. I was like, yeah, he really is.
Ignore it. TP, we are not allowed to say medium ugly for the rest of our days. So that word is Voldemort.
Moderately ugly, okay, for the group.
See what I'm saying? You two are the worst. I'm just
letting women know that we're not allowed to say it because if I gotta hear Kojo on this rant one more time about this situation, so y'all don't even bring it up.
Why are you mad that we are offering the average man an avenue for love?
Oh my god!
Oh, so y'all doing favors now? Y'all doing favors?
Man, ain't nobody listening.
Hey. Pack it in.
Separate them, Coach.
Where's your Bible?
Separate them, please, because I think they're
we go. Each other. Yeah, they're sitting each other. Yeah, they're the class.
Yeah, thank
the
you.
Class is getting disruptive. Yeah, thank you.
Medium cute. Medium cute. I like that.
These two in the classroom, absolute mayhem. No, we take what you guys are saying. I am hearing what you ladies are saying as well. I do actually understand what you're saying, so I'm not mad about that. Okay, so obviously moving on from Ashley, then we had obviously the situation with Vern, and she had on this particular episode she dealt with more with Tabari. So I don't know where Cantrell went to. I don't know if he had to go off somewhere or why I didn't put him in this episode as much, but she dealt more with Tabari, and she said about how she felt, Tabari is great. She loves the fact that he's fun and he brings out another side of her, or at least makes her feel comfortable enough to bring that side of her out. But she feels like he does too much. So I asked the gentleman about Kirsten's behavior. I want to ask the ladies, Tabari, is he doing too much from your perspective? Do you feel like he's being too much class clown? And what is the effect when a man does too much class, quote unquote, what she described as class clowning? You know what I mean? Before we give our perspective on actual happenings. Mercedes, go for it.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of like the Habibi syndrome, where they really are, they use it as like kind of like an icebreaker, to get people down. People use humor, but sometimes, what's humorous to me is not humorous to others. So I didn't consider him clownish, but like, I just see it as people showing that side of their personality to just kind of get you comfortable, to kind of ease the room. So I didn't think that he was personally doing too much in this circumstance. Even like with Habibi, he wasn't everybody's flavor of the day, but I heard he's very funny in person. So I want to give him grace on the class clown, and like, I don't mind it. I think it's cool because I know your heart is in the right place, and there's a person behind that. But I want to circle back to the woman. I think Vern is trying to figure out who she is, because she was stay-at-home mom, but she be going out according to her friends. He be doing too much, and she want a more serious man. So like, she got to pick a lane. She don't really know what she wants. So I don't think that you can come at a man and say that's annoying and that's this, when you don't know if that's even what you want. So just say it's not for you right now. But that's me.
Thank you, Mark. I appreciate it. Yeah. Seaway, class clown too much?
Well, I 100% agree that Vern needs to pick a lane. I think we were talking about that last week. I think she's on too many sides and is going too many different ways, and I think that's why she's struggling. But let me just say, my opinion on this may not be all women's opinion. I don't want to speak on all women's opinion on this. It's just my opinion. So sometimes I speak for women. I am not speaking for women right now. I'm speaking for me. I personally just don't like men who do too much. I know there is a lot of women like me, but I don't think that's all women. I really like a man that's more laid back, chill. I don't like attention seeking. Honestly, I got to deal with attention seeking people in doses, let alone a man, right? So I just don't like a man that does too much. And for me, Tabari just does a lot. I'm not saying like, but I do like to laugh, right? So if he's funny, like if you give me a good kiki, I will get down with the kiki if you make me laugh. But a man that's just doing a lot, needing a whole lot of attention, is just not my not zesty. That's not my type of man for me. I just want you to come in the room. I want your presence to speak for you, I don't need you commanding all of this attention, because to me, when a man is commanding all this attention, it's going to put all that attention on me. And I'm also not a person who wants everyone just looking at me and looking at what the next move is and stuff like that. But I do think there are plenty of women who are maybe more shy or things like that, and they love for a man to be extroverted. So I'm not saying this is a one size fits all. I just personally feel like he would be doing too much for me. Personally,
I love the balance. Actually, I think that's a great balance. I think that's a fair point. I think he can be doing too much for some people. Chat's outrageous. He can be doing too much for, y'all are not a safe space for certain men out here. But he can be doing a little bit too much for some people, and can be great for others. And I think that's a great point as well to be said. So I appreciate ladies sharing that perspective. In general, how do you guys feel about the Tabari and the Vern connection? So I'm gonna bring the guys in. How do you guys feel about the connection? You know what I mean? JR, how do you feel about the connection between Vern and Tabari? Were you buying it? Was it something that you saw could make sense? What's your thoughts on that?
No, not really. Never really thought that connection was going to work. I think once she decided to get rid of Jabari, she just needed to move on to something, and he was there. And I think that's partially to do with what Mercedes was saying. I don't think she knows what she's looking for, because she's trying to come across as so many different things. Like her main reason for getting rid of Jabari was his 9-to-5 work life. The times didn't match up and align with what she does. This dude seems to be more outgoing and more of a social cat, but she didn't like his personality either. So, if a guy's out there being social, whether it's in entertainment or marketing or whatever it is, he's developed personal skills to communicate and mingle with people, and that might be part of his personality now. I mean, if she has a problem with that, then she probably, needs to go back to someone more conservative. I don't think he did too much. I think he was going around being, he said hi to everyone, hugged all the ladies, was courteous and polite. If that was enough to turn her off, then it wasn't meant to be. Simple.
Appreciate it. Glenn?
Yeah, I think it's a little too much. I mean, I think that with the Vern and his situation, for her to take somebody else's number while he's there, it lets you know what their situation is about. All right. For her even to entertain the other guy while this dude that dude that you picked, you already letting them know, you already letting everybody know that you're really not interested in him. You leaving your options open, right? Maybe that's because she's been hurt from past seasons and she doesn't want to take the first guy and whatever case may be. But if you pick Tabari to be your keeper and you're entertaining him, you don't take Muzel's number, right? You're like, nah, I got somebody right now. This is my keeper. This is who I'm dealing with, even if you're on the show or not. So it tells you where her and Tabari's at. I think she chose Tabari. I think I said it last week. She chose Tabari just because he was different from Jabari, right? And he came different, and it was something she wasn't sold on the 9-to-5 guy. This guy's an entrepreneur. He's an actor, starring some movies. So again, she likes the funny type guy, but could be a little too much. I don't think she's 100% sold on him just because you had to pick somebody, and then she just wanted to try something different. And I think she wanted to try him because he was different, but she's not really into him. And she, like everybody said, she's playing both sides of the streets. She don't know what she wants. She don't know if she wants to be the housewife or she wants to be the person that's, just hanging out there doing what she need to do. And it could be a balance between the two, but she hasn't found that balance yet. And I don't think she knows how to find that balance. And she don't know if she wants to be the guy that the entrepreneur guy or the guy that's kind of a little bit structured. So she's all over the place.
Appreciate that. Sean. And I'm going to get the ladies back in.
Sure. Now, see, I just had a question. See, where you said he was sassy? What did he do sassy?
No, she didn't say that. She said the audience.
Oh, okay.
I don't think he was sassy. I was just laughing at the comments.
Oh, got it.
You was ready to give me I didn't see anything.
No, I wasn't. I just
don't worry. See, I had your back, C-Way. You saw me. I had your back, C-Way. You know what I mean? I ain't gonna let you get you out like that. That's the first lady. Don't do that to her.
I wasn't activated. I just wanted clarity. Yeah, I just think it boils down to, I agree with pretty much what everyone has said up to this point. But I think that it's so clear, it's crystal clear. She does not like him. I don't care if he had the personality of Maurice mixed with his own personality. She does not like him. Okay, so when somebody doesn't like somebody, they're going to find things wrong that probably might not bother someone else. She doesn't like him, and she would make concessions if she did like him, because something like that is not really a big deal. And I'm sorry, I love Vern to pieces. She seems like a fun woman, but is her personality the most it's not jumping out at you like, oh my God, I get why she would want somebody that can balance her out, or I get somebody that would, why she's looking for what she wants to look for. For me, she seems like a very quiet, we don't really hear a lot from her. Somebody like that would help to lighten the mood and keep things going. She claims to be fun, but that's more of like with her girlfriends and they're kicking back, having a good time. But the interactions I've seen of her when she's on these dates, she doesn't have all this energy. So I would think the yin and the yang would work and would give her a little bit of, would help to lighten the mood and be fun. She's fun, right? But yeah, so I just think she doesn't like him and just going back to her previous choices, Joelle had a whole lot of personality, and I know she's trying to not make those same mistakes and choose differently, but yeah. So that's all I got.
Appreciate it. All right, cool. So obviously Vern situation. I see where you wanted to say something. Sorry, apologies. See when you want to add something. Go for it.
I just had a question. Just like when we moved to Mizell, but we ain't gotta get there yet.
Cool.
Oh, what he said? Oh, Mizell.
I want to talk about the Mizell situation. Phil Good said Mr. Don't Play helped named it for Nisha City Girl, housewife equals city wife. Damn. Yeah, the chat is cutting up today. We want to talk about obviously Vern and the Mizell situation. Is that situation, I want to ask a question, is that a violation? What Vern did taking Meisel's details, is that a violation from your perspective? Yes or no? And we would love to know why you feel the way you do. I see where you opened my mic. So yeah, you ready to go?
I have a question.
Okay.
Why is Sharice standing on business with Zadia?
I said this.
Was she not standing on business with Vern? Her energy for Zadia was all nucky if you buck. But then when it got to Vern, she was acting like she was spooked. I don't like that. Why you?
I'll be split too.
Look, I ain't messing with Vern either.
That's what I'm saying.
For a couple of reasons. But my thing is, you gotta be consistent. You can't be running up on one person and the other person. I didn't like that.
Well,
I thought it was kind of pussy of her. I didn't like that.
I think that, and this is maybe to Sharice's credit or not, but I think it's because Vern told her versus Sharice finding out after the fact. Okay. I think typically you're going to get less vim from somebody when you deal with them head on and say, hey, listen, he did reach out to me. And I think she was trying to save face because we did see her squirming a little bit in that chair as she was getting told the story. But I think maybe that's why she was less feisty.
But Sean, he left out very critical details, if I'm not mistaken. Then he tried to make it like, oh, I left a bag or something, and that's the only reason why I got his number. He wasn't very forthcoming about his pursuit of Vern. So a lie, a candy-coated lie, it's a lie.
Yeah, he definitely tried to lie and wiggle his way out of that situation, which was horrible.
I gotta go with Seaway on this one. Like, keep the same energy, because you know it was BS. She catch every other lie, every other little minute detail. Why you ain't catch that?
Yeah, I said the same thing in our review. Like, she ain't want that smoke. she ain't want that smoke from Vern at all. Not at that table. She wasn't gonna jump up. What's that song? Punks jump up to get beat down. She didn't want to jump up to get beat down.
She didn't fuck at Vern at all. Like, not in the slightest bit. I mean, do I think that it's wrong? I think if it was anybody but Vern, everybody in this chat would be saying it was low down. I think if it was Zadia, if it was anybody but Vern, I think people would have taken it differently. I don't know, because it's Vern. Nobody seems to, because she has pretty much her record of doing problematic things is kind of zero for the most part. So I think the fact that she pulled this, people are like, whatever. But I do think if it was anybody else, people would have a problem with it.
Yeah, we didn't. I totally think she was wrong for doing it, because we were talking behind the scenes, and Jay and I were kind of, and I was hoping she would be up tonight when we could talk through it. But I totally think she was wrong for the way she handled it and taking his number.
I don't know. I gotta go back to the rules that like production rules too, because sometimes they're fuzzy. So I did hear him mention that I thought I could talk to everybody. So I don't know what these quote unquote rules are. I know the basics, like the keepers and the, moving on to the next, but I don't really know what the rules are as far as pursuing other people outside of that.
Yeah, and that's the confusing part.
I don't know what code she broke. Like, if she broke girl code.
Exactly.
I don't know yet.
Did she break girl code, Merk? Did she break girl code?
It all depends on the rules of the bigger game.
No. Did she break girl code, Merk? I'm saying you there.
In the streets, yes. But if she's on a dating game show where there are you can date who you want to, then no. She didn't. Right.
So why is there an issue with Mizell then? If she can date whoever she wants to, is it just purely the fact that he made up a lie about the bag and not come clean?
Mizell lied. He act like the Ezel off of Friday. Like, when you start lying and just doing goofy stuff, like, you just get no respect. Like, that's my thing. He moved like a noodle head, and that was his lie.
I will say though. I will say it didn't sit right with me that everybody, including Tamika, that's her name, right?
Mm-hmm.
that she had a lot of energy for Mr. Mizell, and it seemed like Vern got zero. I'm not saying he didn't deserve some energy for weaseling in and out, but according to him, he was lying a little bit and backtracking. But he talked about he didn't know the rules. That's what he said. And Vern is confused on the rules too. Talk about, is everybody fair game? Are they not? To me, I think both of them know the rules. They both know that if you're somebody's keeper, you're probably not supposed to be going on to the keeper. Now, if you done got let go, I think it's pretty clear, right? If you done got let go or they discarded you and somebody else wants to pick you back up, kind of like you playing cards and you done got discarded, yeah, then somebody can pick you up out the discard pile. But you can't come and take the card from somebody's hand. Like, that's how I view it. Like, literally, Vern took the card in Sharice's hand and plucked it out.
But I thought the rules were
taking the card from the discard pile.
But I thought the rules were set at the beginning, though. When was it Zadia and Vern went out with the same dude with Jabari, and that they were like anybody can date everybody. So I think from that,
were any of them keepers though? Were any of them a keeper?
I don't know if Jabari was a keeper at that point. I think I wasn't a keeper with like the first episode when she picked him, and Zadia didn't like the two guys that she went out with, so she ended up going out with Jabari. But it wasn't a keeper yet. We didn't even enter the keeper stage as of yet, But I thought that opened a precedence that you can go out with anybody if you choose to.
I just think it's a little awkward, right? Like if I start dating Mercedes and next I'm gonna, I go on 2 dates with, maybe I'm manifesting right now, right? So I start dating Mercedes, and then next thing I'm moving around, right? And now I'm with her homegirl or I'm with Seaway. You know what I mean? Can I do it? Yes, I could do anything I want to as long as I'm single, right? But should I do it? No. And I think ultimately Vern knew, because one, she had a conversation with Ashley before, and Ashley was making all them faces because she knew it was touchy, and then she knew that she had to have a conversation with Sharice to talk about it. So when you got to go through all of those steps just to disclose that you're talking to somebody, you're kind of on shaky ground, and the foundation is just not, what it should be.
Well, because I think Sharice finally came up for air with this one, because like they've been casting her dates or matchmaking her, I think, improperly. I think they're trying to match her according to like one, it was probably trash casting because they were casting right up until they started shooting. So these were all last ditch, whatever they got. But they're also casting for her for the man that they think she should have, when she clearly has stated she won't rich, she won't travel, so why you gonna bring her somebody who ain't traveled in 25 years? So
the guy that she's looking for ain't there.
That she finally was like, man, I can actually like him. So why was she quiet? She probably liked him, it's low key.
The guy that she's looking for, this unicorn, doesn't exist. That's why. So they're just picking the best of the bad bunch to give to her.
Why doesn't it exist?
Nah, because she's too. Listen, what she's doing is she's finding fault pretty early and eliminating these guys. So yeah, it might be trouble. I think if travel was a big thing for her, then that's something that they can bond over. He's never traveled before. It could be a new experience. They can travel together. She can show him places and show her knowledge and things like that. That's the reason to stay together if you're actually interested in a person. But no, she eliminated these guys for having kids prior, not traveling, not opening up to her, communication. And, she doesn't really have much communication skills herself. So, yeah, I think Sharice is going to be tough because she's so critical. So she's probably going to be the hardest one to find a match for. The others seem more flexible, or more able to accept someone for who they are more than she is. Just my opinion.
Glenn, go for it.
Yeah, but she did let her guard down. I think she does like Mizell. I mean, even go back to the dancing situation. She would cuddle up and snuggled up with Mizell. You know what I'm saying? And she allowed him to invade her space per se, right? And she hadn't let anybody else do that because the last couple guys who tried to touch her, she was like, "Don't touch me, right? Get your hands off me." Two dudes, Dan T and I forgot the other guy's name who tried to touch her, and she said, "Get off." But now her and Muzel was up on the couch at the party, all underneath the arm, so she liked them, right? And you can tell that she was hurt by the fact when Vern like, "Oh, he been texting me and calling me all night." She was like, "Yo,
Exactly.
he ain't text me, he ain't called me.
Nope.
My phone dry." You know what I'm saying? So that was hurtful to her, right? She is a person. I think she was like, you know what? Dang, what's going on? What am I doing in this sense that the dude that I like somebody else? So, you know, you saw the vulnerability of Sharice at that point, and that's probably why she really something to think about ain't come at Vern. She was shocked and hurt at the same time. Like hey, dang, this dude ain't. But I also, if I can't get Vern, I'm gonna get dude when I see him though. And that's where her energy went. Her energy went all straight to Muzel and not Vern, but she was hurt. She really liked him. She cared about him. Great conversation. But when you hear something like that, it's like, what do I do? Man, you texting somebody else? You calling somebody else? All your time and energy went to her? Yeah, I'm done. Make you start doing some self-evaluation.
I agree with all of that. But listen, Venetia probably has more conversation and is probably more endearing, comes across more warm. So that's instantly gonna entice some guys to her. Unfortunately, Mizell found himself in a sticky situation where he had to try and dig his way out of it. But Sharice doesn't like staying up late night anyway. Like she went off on Zadia for keeping her awake and things like that. So there weren't going to be no conversation late night there. Like if he was going to talk to someone, it would probably be someone like Venetia who's out late herself, isn't tucked up in bed by 10. So but ultimately she did feel hurt. Like you could see that the way she was talking in the room with Zadia about Mizell, she was really trying to talk up the connection as if there was something there. And then the moment Venetia comes in with Ashley, then cold water was just poured all over that because Venetia's been having more success with the guy than Sharice had, despite their embracing on the couch in front of everybody. Venetia must have saw that as well. Like she can't be blind. She must have seen them on the couch together, and she still decided to give dude her number. So, I think both are equally culpable in that whole mess.
Yeah, JR, I'm gonna have to disagree just slightly. That she wasn't doing a whole lot of talking, and from everything she even shared, he was the one doing all the pursuing, asking her out on dates, reaching. He asked her for her phone number, and she ain't say nothing to him. He saw her, was visually attracted to her, but then he didn't play his hand the right way. You know what I'm saying? Like if you're gonna do something like that, it's risky. But he was, and then they even said he was like asking, like, are you guys all in the same house? Do y'all live together? How long have y'all known each other? That's already old boy was on dirt because he's trying to calculate exactly what he can do, how he can maneuver the situation, and he was giving as little details as possible. And that's where he erred wrong, because in this kind of situation, just be genuine. And bro, it's a reality TV show. So it's like, even if you want to try to lie and play a little game and be dark, everything gets filmed a good chunk of it, right? So come on, just say what it is. I really like you. I know I'm talking to Sharice, but I think you and I have a better connection. And then talk to Sharice. How would you feel? Do it the right way. It's just going to be cleaner. And then to add insult to injury, when you get called out, talking about she left her pocketbook and you wanted to make sure that she was okay, bro. It's like, come on, come on, bro. You really didn't think that was gonna fly.
Okay, quick question. Do you think that Mizell downplayed Venetia because that's what she was pissed about? And if he hadn't downplayed it and came out with the real spiel, like what you said, Sean, like he was really feeling her or whatever, what do you think would have happened in that situation?
Yeah, I think in his mind, he downplayed her to get himself out of trouble, and that tells me he had no genuine interest in Vernisha. Because if I genuinely like a woman and I get called out, I'm not going to. As men, we're going to cover what we like. We're going to covet it. We're going to protect it, whether it's a serious or if it's just like I just kind of like her a little bit and I don't know what this is going to be. He just wanted to frolic with Vern, because if he cared an ounce about it or considered her, he would have been like, you know what, I'm gonna own it. I did reach out to her, but downplaying her, talking about you lost your pocketbook. Yeah, it would. If he did the opposite, yeah, he would have gotten called out, but it would have showed his true intentions. And what we did was see his true intentions.
Yeah, I agree with Sean, man. I think if Mizell would have just fronted up and told the truth, like, look, I thought she was banging in a little cat suit. I thought she was banging in an outfit. I wanted to holler at her. Sharice was only giving me this, but I like this. I think it would have still been hurtful, but again, he would have been honest, and it would have made Vern appreciate him even more for liking her and being 100, right? You be a dude, be a guy, right? Keep it 100. Let's keep it honest. You know what? I like you because you kept me, but her across the room, there's something I like about her too. And is it fair game? He should have went to Tamika and asked, you know what? Is it fair game like you guys say? Can they just pick me or can I pick somebody else? Be honest about it. But when he starts stammering and stuttering and start lying, that's when it became bad. Tamika, like, come on, bro, let's be real. Like, are you 6? Are you in high school still?
But Glenn, what man? And I hear you. Who's this confident? I ain't never met a man that was just so honest. Like, yeah, I'm feeling you and you. They get caught up on national television with 14 cameras around.
But you on a TV show is a dating show.
But Glenn, who's doing this in real life? I haven't met this honest man walking like that's Jesus.
Come on now.
Y'all not doing this. This sound good in theory. This is a Denzel movie, though. I haven't met no man. He gonna talk like he can be this honest, but I have yet to meet one.
He should have been on. He started stammering. He should have been like, "Yo, I like her and you. It's a TV show. You gotta know the rules of the game and where you're at."
But okay, so what if he liked them both? Was he supposed to ask for like a sister?
The show set the game up. That remember they set him up on a date earlier. Remember, everybody went out with Kirsten. 3 of the women went out, so they set the precedence. Like, you can date some of the guys, girls can say to date the same people. So at this point, it's fair game.
I think we need to read the rules.
Listen, on Ready to Love, don't y'all send people home and say,
Hey, you see what happened on my season? Don't ask me. Hey,
yo.
Hey. We follow no rules, and you see, they still not following the rules.
Clearly, right? They're making them up.
Clearly,
as they go along.
What do you say? Clearly,
okay.
A high school reunion, a catch up, because boy.
All right. Well, listen, let's move it away from Vern then. But first of all, before we move it on to the next person, shout out to the people that are in the audience. We have 530 people in the audience. We appreciate you guys. If you're here and you're new, make sure you like, you share, and you subscribe to the channel. We're here to entertain and educate you guys as well. Today, we're talking about Ready to Love, Make a Move, episode 7. And we're talking about what happened in that episode. You're joined not only with LBB, but you can see Mercy. I say Mercy, it's Mercedes. Glenn, JR, Sean, and Seaway on the panel as well. We have panels like this pretty much every week on the show as well. So let's continue the conversation. Because, there's more to talk about, right? Like, there's more to talk about. Vern, unfortunately, with the Mizell situation, I think you guys did a good job of nailing it to the cross, as they say. Now, there was obviously another party that was also in a pickle. We had, obviously, Sharice herself. But she obviously, we kind of discussed it a little bit, so we won't spend too long on it because it kind of ties into the Vern situation. But I want to get your perspective on Sharice and her dates. Because obviously Mizell was one of her dates that she got left behind with. Originally, she had Maurice, who she's kind of still texting, okay? Because, she ain't going to lose out on Gucci slippers now. And obviously, got rid of Danzy as well. I think that was last episode. I don't know if that's even this episode. And in the end, she actually sent Mizell home as well. So she said, well, she sent him away from her. She didn't want to be with him no more. She said she's going to move in a different direction. So I want to get you guys' thoughts on Charisse on this episode. We won't spend too long, like I said, because I think we kind of spoke a little bit about it already as well. So who would like to jump in there first about Charisse and her situation on the show? Fantastic. Sean, you dipped your head, so go for it. I know.
Oh,
it's one of those
Mercedes
ones.
was unmuted.
I know, but she was already unmuted before I started, so there was no point. You know what I mean? There's no change.
All right, I'll take the lead. Okay. Yeah, no, I actually felt bad for Charisse this particular episode because her options are few. You know, she really don't have much going on right now. So I did feel bad for her, you know, and she seemed really genuine when they were sitting around the kitchen and she was talking about her relationship with Mizell and how she was starting to like him. And then once she heard that he had been texting Vern and she hadn't heard from him, it looked like her feelings were really hurt. So I really empathize with her this particular episode. And I hope that she, you know, I hope she finds something. Now, I've been saying this and I feel the same way. I think she canceled out Maurice too soon. I know she said they've been talking behind the scenes, but you need to go where you're appreciated. And Maurice appreciates her. They have, you know, she keeps, sometimes I think we just get caught up, and Mercedes kind of mentioned it earlier when she was like a list, right? And I think sometimes there's a list that's out there and you're getting caught up on little things, right? Are these things that you could overcome? You said that he's, you know, he doesn't talk as much. He's kind of quiet, but you're not that talkative. And ultimately, at the end of the day, is that something that you can work through? Now that you've kind of went through different options, what's most important to you? For her, it seems to be lifestyle. It seems to be someone that appreciates, you know, a good time, someone that's going to treat her well. Hey, you're not going to get everything. So I think she just needs to go back to her vision board and reassess her list. Because I think ultimately, yeah, boring relationships long-term are boring, folks. I'm sorry. Like at the end of the day, it's work. And she's no thank you. A lot of people are saying it too. She's not doing cartwheels and full of excitement. She's a very even keel person. So how are you going to expect something out of somebody that you don't have, right? But the person has a good majority of the things that you like. You got to reassess. Are you going to get what you want? Or are you constantly just passing by? And the person you're chasing, she's chasing Mizell and he's chasing somebody else. He's running away. That's all I'm saying.
And I thought the guy Will that she had the date with later on was pretty interesting for her. You know, they had a good conversation. That's what she wants. She wants somebody just to talk to her, somebody to open things up, to take the lead. I think that's what she's looking for. She has been given a shaft on the show. If you think about it, the dates that she's been given or dates that she's been messing with haven't been what she's really been looking for. So she has to work through some things and find out, is this really, can I bend on some areas, right? Can I bend on some things, or do I have to really be this rigid in what I'm looking for? You know, it's not going to, they're not going to give you everything that you're looking for anyway. You know, the guy, I think it was Keith or Kenneth, whatever his name was, the one that hadn't been traveled, right? Didn't go around the world. Well, maybe that was an opportunity for you to show him some things. That was maybe an opportunity for you to get his passport stamped in different places and show him the world, because he's been raising his children, right? You faulted him for raising his boys. You faulted him for being a black man who's taking care of his kids and not being able to be well traveled. Didn't do what he was supposed to do. And you would say, you know what? I don't like you because not because you can't take care of me, not because you didn't have the finances, but because you don't have these many places stamped in your passport. How about y'all do things together and travel the world together, other than, you know, dealing with Maurice just because he can buy you Louis Vuitton and Gucci and all that. So she's setting herself up, and I think some of this is on her. I think the guy that was the music producer, I thought he was a decent dude for her at that time that she didn't keep for somebody else. So she's doing it to herself. Keep some of the good guys and try different things, but we'll see.
Yeah. Like,
Yeah, Mark.
I was just gonna add, the only time we see Charisse actually communicate in large amounts is when she's either like hostile, berating someone about something, or telling people what she doesn't like and what she's not gonna do. Very rarely have we seen her open up in a warm manner, trying to really engage or lead a conversation about herself or anything. So that can be off-putting, um, and especially in a situation where you have different personalities, like a bubbly Ashley, you have a Venetia who may not be as dry, but at least she comes across as warm, and then you have Zadia, who I think is probably the most talkative out of all of them, but it's mainly about herself. So I think Charisse is fighting a losing battle if she doesn't change her approach to I just saw that. Yeah, if she doesn't change her approach and lighten up a little bit, then she might watch this opportunity go past her. And if she's really serious about finding a companion to share life with and move to New Orleans to stay with and things like that, she can't keep up the same energy that she's bringing, because it's not getting the results that she wants.
Well, like I'm
Appreciate
gonna
it.
like the cat like production in, they will typecast you, and I think that is very easy to make Charisse the villain, the woman with too high of standards, and she needs to dummy her stuff down. And hear me out, I'm a realist, so again, she may never see her unicorn. But if she's not crying about it, if she's not complaining about it, if she's moving on respectfully, leave Charisse in her little la la land, because everything was impossible until it was done. So, yes, this man doesn't exist until he does. And she might not find love until she's 60, But in her mind, she's locked and she's loaded. And I rarely hear her, she's critical of men, but I rarely hear her complain about being single. She complains about the caliber of men that she's attracting, which means she needs to work on a couple of other things, because like attracts like. So as much as you don't like them, there's something in that person that's very similar to you. So it will behoove you, like JR, to, pause, take a moment, see what you can learn from him. Like Glenn said, maybe see that you need to look for different qualities. But if her being is circled around very shallow and in lower vibrational aspirations, leave her be. I don't see anything wrong with that. I hate when we like criticize people for like wanting the moon. Okay, just because you want the grass doesn't mean that somebody shouldn't want the moon. Let them want the moon. So
I definitely hear you on that. When you want the moon, make sure you got a space shuttle. That's the thing.
Somebody gonna do a space shuttle.
You want the moon, but get a space shuttle. That's the whole point.
Does need to bring things to the table. Like, she wants a conversationalist because she does lack in that area. But one thing that she needs to work on, and it's harder as you get older, is you got to work on things yourself. You also have to bring a package, to the table. You want the world, but what are you bringing? Are you whole? Are you healed? All of those other things. And she might go back at home, sleep good at night, and say, yeah, hell yeah, I'm it. I would date me. And what I want is not impossible to have. I just haven't found it yet.
So. Okay. Well, this is the second show she's been on, so we're gonna keep our foot on her neck. Because she on this good TV, she could be at home. She could be at home in the privacy of her bedroom and her vision board and manifest all the dreams that she's gonna have to get to the moon. But while she's on her own, we're gonna tell her you need to kind of come back to reality just a little.
Honey, I promise you that. You see that they pick criminals. Criminals.
Yes,
I will say, I listened to everything that everyone said. I really disagree with the fact that there was somebody that Charisse has seen thus far that was even halfway decent. I mean, maybe the guy without the passport, maybe, but that other character that didn't have nothing to say, who was sitting there like he was doing the mannequin challenge, literally every date, every episode, not speaking, completely on mute. Like, she was supposed to like look at him and not talk for another 3 or 4 episodes. I mean, I think he had to go. He did have to go. Thank you, Maurice. So, I mean, is she perfect? No. Is she a little bit delulu? I think so, for sure. But do I think that there has been dudes that she really should have kept thus far? No. And I think they're struggling matching her because she does have high income requirements and she wants men of a particular age and a particular stage. And she doesn't really seem like she wants people with young kids, mostly no kids, right? But that's not realistic. So then, like, they're trying to match her with people with older kids, so she's not dealing with someone with young kids. Her just pool is really, really small. And that's why it kind of sucked that Mizell kind of was playing the fence, because he would have been decent, you know, for her, perhaps. But she hasn't had good options. It's a lot easier to match somebody like Zadia or Ashley, to be honest. Even Vern has complications with her life situation. So that's what I think.
Yeah, no, I don't necessarily disagree with that at all. I mean, I think there is going to be complications because financially she is seemingly, it seems like she's in a particular bracket. So finding a man who makes more, that wants to pay for everything that she wants to be paid for, she wants soft life, is also quite a difficult task to do on own, because men that make that kind of money, how many of them want to be on TV? You know what I mean? You know what I mean? So I do understand how it can be a little bit difficult to match financially. And it does go back to why I said that, you know, even if she wasn't even on TV, that unfortunately, when certain ladies make certain amount of money, your pool shrinks, because the amount of men that make that kind of money that are making more than you have also shrunk. And it becomes a very super uber competitive environment. And this is where I'm looking at Charisse and I'm going, if I make that kind of money, why do I want your headache? And this is why I said about, it's not how beautiful she's beautiful. When I look at Charisse, she's really beautiful. You know what I mean? Like, she's really stunning, actually. And she's got a poise about the way she stands and the way she holds herself up as just as physically, the way she has a poise. I like the way she holds herself up physically, right? And you know me, I like a little bit of the toxicity. So I ain't gonna lie to you, you know, it draws me in a little bit, you know. When she be a little bit mean, I'm gonna keep it a little keen, okay? So I'm gonna like it a little bit. But if I'm talking about in general, and I talk about it in a space of being a maintenance situation, I can see how sometimes being so blunt and sometimes being so blah, the way that you may deliver certain points, how that can easily be misconstrued as being quote unquote being rude or being too short, or, you know, not really caring about somebody's feelings. And, you know, one thing I'm going to tell you about these men that are making kind of money, they got some feelings. Okay. So, you know, tripping on that ain't going to be the one. You know what I mean? So I think, thank you for whoever banned that person. I don't know what they said, but they definitely deserve to be banned. You know, so it's that may be a little bit something that she may need to work on just to help so that she can maintain a relationship, because I think you were saying, Merk, you kind of touched on it a little bit. And I was just reading a post today. It was by Boris Kojo's wife, Nicole. Is it not Nicole Ari Parker? Is that her name? Right? And she posted what women were asking her, saying, "Oh, you want a man that does X, Y, Z?" And she posted her response. Her response was, "Well, in order for me, what God told me was, what are you working on yourself? You said you want a man to do X, Y, and Z. What are you working on?" And that's the question I'm asking Charisse. What are you working on? Because sometimes when I see you on the show, I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't want Fight Club. And I can imagine that a lot of men don't want Fight Club. You know what I mean? You're here tussling with Zadia to a point. You've tussled last season to a point, and you still got a bit of that tugginess in you a little bit. You know what I mean? And you handle Vern a little bit differently, man. I think it's because you knew that Vern got some hands, okay? And you weren't about to lose that fight, right? So you smart because you know who to do it to. But it's like, does a man want those kind of things? And I'm wondering how. And it may be the way they're editing it, but I'm just going to say you're on 2 edits of the show now. So, and I've also interviewed Charisse too. And I'll tell you that, you know, sometimes you got that sweet personality, but then when you get to a certain point, you can see if you say something, you're going to say something, and it's going to come out some certain type of way, and it's going to come out rude. It's going to come out short. It's going to come out disrespectful. And as a man, our ego and the respect for us that we like, you trip that wire too much. I make way too much money to be wanting to deal with that on a regular basis. And if I do want to deal with that, I'm probably as toxic as you are. That means that relationship ain't going to go too well either. So you narrow your pool considerably when you get to that place. So that's why I think Sean is also advocating. And I don't think it's the best choice for her at all. But I think Maurice is the best choice on the show. And I think he's the best choice in general right now. Because until you fix the attitude, Maurice is the best person for you. Because I tell you what, Maurice going to look at his shoe, his Gucci Prada little slipper he got on, and he going to say, it don't matter. And he going to move on. And you're going to live a happy ever after life, which with somebody who doesn't talk too much, but he ain't going to bother you either. So until she changes that, then we can start to see that more different people will start resonating with her a little bit more better. Because I think she's a beautiful person. She can attract them. Can she maintain that guy that she really wants, who makes that kind of money herself? You know what I mean? So that's what I would say about Sharice. Just to soften it a little bit for us a little bit. You know what I mean? Just soften it, you know. Don't change it, but soften it. So yes, Mercedes, you're right. We're not asking her to not change the fact she wants a moon, but just change it a little bit. Since you want to be an astronaut, we need you to know that you're going to go to zero gravity. You might need a little bit of training. Yeah? That's what we're saying. We're going to get a space shuttle. Any other thoughts on Sharice and dates that she has before we move on to the last one?
Listen, I just want to, I see this a lot, and it's not just in the chat. It's just in general. Like women say, "Oh, I want excitement. He's boring." You better reconsider that excitement, because guys that are exciting are, they attract other people, and the more somebody attracts, you're gonna be sliding down the wall. So once somebody else gets a whiff of how interesting and charismatic that person is, they're gonna want to see just what it is too. And they got money, you're gonna be sliding down the wall, and you're like, why does this always happen to me? I just can't get a guy to do right. Yeah, you can't get a guy to do right because you're looking for these things like long-term stability. You want somebody that's gonna be into you, somebody that's gonna treat you well, that has the same goals and alignment, but you want somebody that's exciting you. It's like, come on, that's a fleeting emotion. It's not long lasting. It's not something that's going to be the make or break of you. And not to mention it, you are not the most exciting person either. So it's like, how are you asking something for someone that really you don't even possess? You get what I'm saying? Have to give the brother a little grace. And they are talking too. I just want to end it there. Like she's actually continuing to have conversations with him. He's texting her. She's responding. So there's something that you like about him. So you're going to have to negotiate at some point. Sorry.
Sean, I was delusional. Like, I just want to advocate for delusional women that there is recovery.
But how did that work out for you, Mercedes?
It did not serve me well. I've had a humbling season in the valley. Even my mom, she gave me kudos today, and she was quite proud of the progress that I've made. But I was a little delulu, So I just want people who are delusional. You do have to shift. There are just some things I will never do. Okay. And I would rather drag myself on concrete with glass than to ever do certain things. But guess what? I'm okay with that. But y'all want people to bend? I'm just not trying to break.
I don't think she should break. I think she should bend.
To her, think about how going to a low quality restaurant could break a Sharice.
Maurice is gonna eat well. Are you kidding me? You saw those meals they had? He was eating while she was bumping her gums. He was eating well. Whatever was on that plate, I'm a foodie. That food looked good.
Yes.
I feel like we done went to a whole different topic. Where are we at now?
Yeah, I love you.
I think this is good talk. This is good dialogue, though.
No, what you were saying, I actually love both things. Both angles are super important, but I do think, Sean, you need to put that message again in the benediction, because I always wonder when I hear women get on like these platforms and they say they got cheated on by every boyfriend. I always want to know what type of people they're picking, because it seems like, because I hear that all the time, or I hear that on Kindred Jig, that like every boyfriend I've had, every baby daddy I've had cheated on me. And I'd be like, that's really interesting. Like, I want to know more about that. Like, who are you picking that every single one is cheating on you? Because the boring niggas, Negroes, they're in the house, a lot of them.
What do you say? I love a vanilla ice cream.
Yeah, like they may be talking on that IG and on that Twitter. You may have to check their messages, but they definitely inside.
No toppings. I don't want no syrup. Nothing.
I mean, I just don't understand.
I am done with y'all.
You're a quiet king.
I like that Seaway, a quiet king.
I'm
gonna get that on a t-shirt. I'm a quiet king.
Is you a quiet king? Sean don't be cheating. He gonna agitate you with all that back talk.
She always gonna give you a backhand compliment. She cannot give you a straight compliment. She be like, yeah, he a quiet king, but he gonna give you all that back.
I thought nobody ever asked for a balanced person. Why do you gotta be one or the other?
That's true.
Nobody ever asked for a person that's balanced.
Wow.
Well, that would be the unicorn again, Glenn. I think that's the problem. Leading the back of the man.
But sometimes you have a homebody. Sometimes you have a person that want to be excited. Sometimes the person can be both. Sometimes they want to be out. Sometimes they want to be at home. It's certain days of the week, or it depends on what you do for a living.
So why y'all about burning if people can exist like that? She just balanced.
I didn't say Vern was wrong for being balanced.
Once, but according to you,
I didn't. Vern's tilted one side. See, balance means that you got to be at the same level. Vern's tilted one way. She's tilted strongly one way. Now I'll let you guys decide which way she's strongly tilted.
All right, cool. Let's move on then to the last one, Zadia and Cam. And I just want to say this. I almost forgot to ask you guys this because it was actually not to do with Zadia and Cam, but it was to do with Ashley. Y'all noticed that with Ashley and Don, that Tamika called Don to come after Kirsten or whatever his name is ended up disrespecting Ashley. And I felt like I felt like she stepped over the line with that. I felt like, why did she decide to call Don to come to the place to where Ashley was after she got spun up by Kirsten? Like, if she wanted to have Don there, she should have called Don herself. But for her to call Don, and then Don's thinking that, she called me to the rescue. She ain't called you to rescue, bro. Like, for her to call you, I personally didn't like that. I thought to myself, like, Tamika, I need you to work your string magic behind the scenes, not get involved literally and calling someone to come in and be involved in the situation in that respect. And I say that because it would have been interesting to see what Ashley would have done. Would she have naturally called Don? I'm gonna tell you this now. She wouldn't have. Okay. She would have called him. And I don't say that's necessarily a bad or a good thing, actually, because technically I can see both sides. Don't call him because it's gonna make it look like a second best that I'm calling you after I've dumped somebody. But I can also see that how as well. They can look the other way, which is, why didn't you call me? You know what I mean? Like, I'm supposed to be someone you're connecting with. But I was wondering your guys' thoughts now, really quickly, before I go into Zadia and Cam. What you guys thought about the fact that Tamika called Don to come over and see Ashley? How do you guys felt about that?
I didn't have any opinion on it at all. But are you saying? But now that you bring it up, are you saying that you believe that by her kind of stepping in, it didn't allow Ashley to choose Don or to like actively choose?
Yeah. I wanted to I can see both sides. I can see why Ashley may not have called him, and I can see why she should call him. I'm just wondering why Tamika decided that she had to get involved, because that means that you saw something that you felt like you had to activate. Do you know what I mean? Like, why did she feel the need to invest in that moment and call Don on her behalf? Why not wait for Ashley to do that?
Well, I was thinking perhaps because I guess this is back what Mercedes saying with the rules of the show, maybe unless Tamika brought him back, she wasn't allowed to bring him back because she's already dismissed him. So I took it as when Tamika brought him back, she's saying, hey, we're letting Don back onto the show.
Oh, I'm not talking about that moment. I'm talking about this episode.
Right here. Like when he comes to rescue.
He wasn't off the show. At this point, he's not off the show. At this point, he's actually on the show. So now he's part of the show. So he could come because he came to the party. Remember?
Are you asking why she, as a matchmaker, is getting involved in a particular relationship?
Yeah.
With production, storyline. Like, you know, they honestly get along for 4 women living in a house together for almost 2 months. So they got to create something. So I would go with production. BS.
I thought it was
Okay.
just because they didn't want Ashley to have nobody. Because if you don't bring anybody back, she has no key. And that's what I was thinking. Like, okay, let me see if I can get on speed dial. I would agree with you though. It should have been more organic. If she really liked Don, and if she had nobody, I would love them to see her call Don back or text Don and say, you know what, can we try to reconcile here? Can we get this thing back together instead of Tamika getting involved? And this is not the first time Tamika got involved. Tamika has really been involved. She's invested in too many, and I know it's her job, but she's really invested in Cameron and Zadia, and she really invested in Ashley because she was really up in Cameron and Zadia's stuff last week. But, I guess that's her job.
Yeah, I don't think they want to have Ashley sliding down the wall again, like twice in one episode, trying to call Donald to come back. Like, she let him go before, and I think Tamika being the matchmaker, that's her role. Like, if she thinks there's a better connection with somebody, then she can step in. I think personally, she shouldn't have chose Donald. She maybe should have chose some other dude, like another candidate altogether, because Donald's already been dismissed. And if they end up, not working out, he's going to get dismissed twice. Like, and it's going to be the same result. Like, what's changed in the time? Well, as we find out, actually, it gets worse because now we found out that he's been married before and all of that. So, yeah, I don't know what they were talking about before, but it wasn't in-depth conversations about what their previous relationships were like. And to a degree, Ashley's not the type of person that's going to handle that type of stuff well. She's very insecure at the best of times. She's already been told not to be looking at the other relationships and the other ladies. So, yeah, I don't think she should have called Donald. I think, Tamika was probably the best person to do it if anyone's going to do it, but I just don't think Donald was the right person. Find someone new.
Fair point. Anyone else want to contribute that before we jump off to the actual last bit? Yes, Sean?
I think it was the best thing she could have done for her because it lightened the mood, and then it made Ashley a little happy in the moment. And it showed her what somebody that does care looks like. Now, I think, and I'll say this, I don't think every situation needs to be your forever, right? So hopefully people can take from this, or when you're dating, like you can take a little bit from every person. So in this instance, hopefully maybe she'll learn like, hey, I can give people a little grace because the whole texting debacle was a massive fail and maybe an overreaction. And then also when a guy likes me, this is what it looks like, right? He can get a call and he may have something else going on, but if he's hearing I'm having a bad day, he'll show up. So I think that was nice for her in that moment. I hope she doesn't over invest herself in it, but it was a nice gesture and something to lighten the moment after she had this other guy kind of just be, just not show her any care.
Okay, but then she has all of that deflated as soon as they sit down and they start playing that little game at his house, and he reveals that he's been married before. Now she's dumps again. Like, so I don't think it was a good idea.
I mean, I guess we're gonna dive into that, but there's more issues with Don than that previous marriage that never came up.
Oh yeah, he said he's never been in a healthy relationship before, so that's gonna send her crazy too.
Well, they're birds of a feather because neither is she.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Well, let's talk about it now quickly before we get to Zadia and Cam. What's your thoughts on the Don situation at the very end when Don said obviously he released information about he's married and he was previously married. What's your thoughts around that situation? You know what I mean? Like, how did you read that interaction at the dinner table with Ashley and Don and him saying, hey, did I tell you I was married? before?
I thought it was crazy.
Yes,
because
Glenn.
you just said you didn't have a healthy relationship, but you got married. So you married somebody knowing that your stuff was unhealthy. Like you didn't know it was unhealthy before you said I do, and so you thought I do was gonna fix what you was already in. And like it was crazy for him. Like I don't know if they took the clips and put it in different orders, whatever the case may be. But dude said I never had a healthy relationship, and they seem like they're getting worse or they got worse. So that means you married somebody knowing that your stuff wasn't healthy, like, and you thought that was gonna last. Like, come on, man. Like, and all the conversations you and this girl that had, all the texting back and forth. Again, I think somebody put in the chat. Ashley's not asking the right questions. If I'm on a dating show with somebody, isn't that one of the question? Do you want kids? I think she asked me before. Do you want kids? What do you do for a living? Hey, by the way, have you ever been married? Have you ever been engaged? Have you ever been close to being married? Those are the type of questions you ask people in this day and age so you can get an answer. You don't find that out. So I think they said they're 2 months in. They're 2 months into this or a month and a half into this. And now you just find out this dude is married. So what are y'all texting about? What are you talking about if he's talking to you every day? What kind of conversations you having? These are not deep conversations if you never knew he was married. And for Don not to bring it up, what else you hiding? That's all. Not much.
Thinking again. Merc, what's your thoughts, man? What's the Don?
I just think that, and I hate to go back to this, but there is a lot of lying by omission. I don't think that the burden should lie on a person to ask, nor do I think that a person should reveal something before they feel that it's necessary. But when you're placed in this kind of incubator, you have to be honest. And again, I hate to throw the production word, but there's so much stuff that they may know about a person, right? So why don't they get invested? Well, because they knew that he had been married and knew that it hadn't been discussed. So let's put him in the ring and let's, create the perfect storm to expose that. So you have to understand that, like, Ready to Love Dallas 2, for instance, I'm gonna give y'all some tea. There's a married person, but how they came by that information, they can't tell, so-and-so, he's married, but they can put you in the ring, create the perfect storm, and if it come out, it comes out, kind of thing. So I just, I think we've already discussed Ashley. She doesn't like to go deep because if she goes deep, then she has to go deep, So she's not going to do that with a man. So what type of conversations was she having? I don't know. I got a little checklist and I would have known very early on what the situation is, but some people they don't choose to know. Ignorance is bliss. It's so much more fun, when things aren't heavy. So, I don't know.
I think him not bringing up that he was married was wild. I think that's kind of like a first, second date conversation. Like, how do you admit a whole marriage? That's like not saying you have kids. Like, I shouldn't have to figure out if you were married before or if you have kids. Like, after, like, it shouldn't be, hi, my name is, I've been married before I have kids, but we've been talking for what, like first or second date, and I don't know that? That's bizarre. So I said I liked him. I really did. But I mean, unless this was like one of them 5-day marriages, is it one of them like Kim K marriages? I don't know. If it ain't one of them married at first sight marriages, them Kim K marriages, like if this was a real marriage, why did this not come up? Like that's just a lie. I mean, that's just like ridiculous. Like I couldn't be dating somebody and not say that. So I don't know. Very strange, and that was not on. I'm not going to ask somebody, "Hi, Kojo, nice to meet you." And we're talking. Have you been married before? Like what? Especially at their age, you know what I mean? Like maybe if I was 40, I would maybe ask somebody, "Have you been married before?" But isn't Ashley like 30-something, young 30s or something? I may not ask that. So that's not a normal question. That's all I got. Did you ask something else about that, Coach? I couldn't remember.
No. I just asked about the Don situation. I haven't asked anything else.
Oh yeah, she's 36. Yeah.
It'd be like that.
I guess at 36 you could ask, but that's still something I don't know if I'm just gonna walk in and ask. I think that needs to be said. And I'm not tripping that you were married before. I'm tripping that you didn't say it.
Trust me. I'm sorry. I mean, listen. You don't need to tell me that you failed the marriage, but it's like it comes out in your speech, man. If we're actually having some really good conversation, let me just make sure. Mercedes, were you married previously?
No, I was not.
Just want to make sure. Listen.
Asked before,
but you know what I mean? Like, if I speak to you, we're gonna have a conversation. Like, if we're talking about relationships, and I speak to you enough, it should not be a surprise. It shouldn't be like, oh my god, you were married before? Like, did I tell you I was married before? Like, that should not be on that answering of that question. You know what I mean? Like, for me personally, it's a normal thing. Like, if me and Mercedes or me and Seaway or we're having conversation, even me and Sean as we're talking, we're gonna have conversation that should naturally flow into you talking about your life. Marriage is a big thing in your life. It's a milestone in most people's lives that they go and do. So it's not a thing that you miss and be like, did I tell you I was married? I never told you. Okay, let me tell you about I was married. You know what I mean? That's why I think for me personally, I was a bit wild that he didn't realize that he didn't say that he was married. It's almost like me saying, "Well, did I tell you I was a YouTuber?" Oh no. I mean, you didn't bring it up, so that's why I didn't tell you I was a YouTuber. But yeah,
I think I feel like it depends on what value he placed on the marriage. It feels like what happened in the marriage. If he's being dishonest, is he still married? Right. But I think like in this scenario, it doesn't again, that's not the thing that's rubbing me the wrong way. And this is from somebody that was previously married. It depends on how I see you. She's dating multiple men. Right. So until I know that I'm the one that you're going with, I don't necessarily feel like I need to go that deep. So I might not invest that much energy in what I share with you. She's all Google Gaga over Kirsten, and that was very apparent. I don't know how deep I'm going with you just yet. And it might come up. She said, tell me something that you haven't shared with me yet. And he told her. So I don't think that's the issue. I'm glad he did it. It came out that way because now you get to know about his relationships. And now the biggest problem is him and all these string of toxic relationships where he's the common denominator and one got worse from the next. That is more problematic to me than him being previously married and not coming up in conversation while you're in a scenario where you're dating multiple people. So that's my thought on it.
Everybody got secrets.
Not necessarily that everyone got secrets.
Everybody got secrets.
No big deal, just a lifelong commitment I signed up for.
Nothing heavy.
Nothing major.
Biggie.
I don't know. You know how
eBay
exes, like, I don't know if it was that bad. He just might not exist no more.
Yeah,
Damn.
Y'all women be erasing whole numbers off of your roster, so don't be sitting up here telling me.
Number off a roster ain't no whole marriage certificate.
I bet you would erase a baby daddy or two. Well, obviously you don't have that scenario. Neither one of you ladies do on the panel. But I'm telling me, if given the option, some would.
Okay.
You actually know a few people who done erase the baby daddy. Now it was very difficult. It was very difficult. But they got them paperwork signed and them folks is erased. Okay. But that's a lot of work. And you still can't erase them from like your significant other. You can pretend like they don't exist from everybody else, but this is a crazy
I just thought about something we probably didn't think about. What if he was married but she passed away.
Ooh.
You
That's
know
even
what?
more. That's even more
That's an
important.
exception.
This is
I'll
all
give it as an exception.
That.
That's a
they
bit of a
talked
heavy
about
topic.
his past relationships before. He has mentioned that he had never been in what he say he never been in something serious before. They talked about past relationships before.
Yeah, she passed away with the toxicity, so that's why she ain't even mentioned.
There's no excuse for this, guys. He's struggling.
I mean, if she passed away, I think we have to give her a little bit of a grace.
He ain't passed away.
We
I was
don't
just
know
pleading
that.
the devil's
If someone said it
advocate.
could be a Joel
I don't know.
situation.
He would have been crying at that. She not dead.
He was like, "Oh, did you know? Did you hear? I was married." What the hell is wrong?
Did I tell you I was married?
Did I? Wait.
Wait, did I mention
Did I?
that I was married?
Married? No.
That I went down the aisle?
He's
goes-
wild for that. He's wild for that.
He probably cutting an alimony check too. He probably mad.
He don't look like he cutting no alimony check now, Mercedes.
Who said it's for her? It's for him.
Maybe child support.
But Adela, that they should hear it.
Exactly.
That's a complete fool. He a complete fool for that.
Don, I get it. Don was scared. They said, "All right, cool. Let's go on to Zadia and Cam. It's the last one of the night, so we'll be done soon. So next 15 minutes, we're done. But Zadia and Cam, want to get your thoughts on that. She didn't want to move necessarily to NOLA. Absolutely. They've been discussing their relationship, and one of the things that's been difficult is time. And obviously, he was late to the birthday, but he communicated that. He let her know. Because he took a few extra shifts at the pharmacy. He had to make that guap, the money. Okay, so, he decided he was going to leave that alone, Sean. Leave it alone. And then he decided he's going to take some extra time at work, okay? Y'all need to leave it alone. You know what I meant, okay? All right? You know what I meant. And
Pause.
it needed a pause. I'm so sorry, guys. It did need a pause. When I said it, I should have paused it. I apologize. But it seems that time is against them. So love to hear your thoughts on Zadia and Cam. What you guys thought about their situation currently as well.
Is this production doing the most with this time thing? This feels like a reoccurring, it feels like something on the vision board that says Cam doesn't have time. In every episode, we need to plug something into the vision board about Cam not having time. It feels very forced. It feels forced. I'll let y'all go, but that's kind of where my original thoughts are.
Appreciate it, Siwe. Glenn, what's your thoughts?
No, I'm just thinking, based on his job, I knew some people who are pharmacists, and they do work a lot. Depends on where he works at. We just know he's a pharmacist. We don't know if he's a pharmacist at CVS or he's a pharmacist actually at a legitimate hospital. So, but I do know pharmacists do have long hours. So, and then plus the other hobbies that he had. Remember, he said he was a photographer. He did other things. So he is kind of a busy person. But again, I've always been told you make time for what you want to make time for. And so if you really like her and you really want to be with her, you make time for her and you adjust your schedule as such, or you plan ahead and figure y'all schedule time for each other. Okay, I know you're busy, but okay, I got 2 hours this time. I got 3 hours this time. So let's meet up. You ain't too busy. You're on a reality TV show, but I'm just saying. So you got to make time for what you want to make time for. So if that's the narrative they want to spin, then this dude ain't gonna be too busy to move to DC, right? Because he's not leaving what he has there. Because if he's too busy now, that means he's established in what he's doing. That means he's rooted and grounded in where he's at, right? So that means he doesn't want to pop up and move. So again, we know Zadia is not moving from DC to New Orleans. So he might. The narrative is that he is busy, and I do believe he's busy. But again, you make time for what you want to make time for. And so if he likes her, he want to be like that, he'll make time for her.
Thank you. JR?
Yeah, I think their connection seems to be quite organic. There's a genuine like for each other, and to his credit, he did say he is willing to make the time to try and establish something with her. But when you get down to who's moving where, like the premise is obviously her moving to NOLA, and I don't think she's too happy about moving there anymore, having stayed there for a little bit. And he definitely isn't packing up his stuff and moving. He's already made that quite clear. So I'm not sure what the end looks like, but I'll give them credit. They seem like the most stable connection so far on the show.
Sean?
Yeah, I think he does like her. But I think she's starting to push her boundaries with him a little too much, because and I think like women who understand men will start to hear it just the same way as you could tell that Kirsten was starting to, there was some things that he was not liking about Ashley when he asked her those questions about her nails and she just continued to steamroll forward. That he's telling you, I'm busy and I don't know that Zadi is going to be able to handle it. And I mean, she was like nice nasty when he finally made it to the party, but then she was like, he's not getting, he didn't communicate to me so he can get cut. But didn't he tell you he had to work? I thought that was part of the conversation. I thought that he had told her he had to work. And then with that, kind of lukewarm introduction and did you just come here to eat? I think those things start to wear on him. And then he's telling her, listen, I'm busy. I've explained that I have goals. There's things that I want to do. I don't see this lasting long because she's going to continue to get frustrated. And Camille told her he's not going to have time for you. She needs to listen to her friend or either adjust what she's looking for him to do, because continue to drive forward and expecting him to do something different when he's made it very clear that this is who he is and this is in the place that he is in his life. Again, you got to pick and choose what you want.
Yeah, right. Mercedes.
Okay, I'm like a combo sandwich right now. I like where Sean was headed, and I like where JR kind of had some points. I think with them, they are the best option out of the trash that we see. Like that's my treasure couple. But I do feel like it is gonna come a point in time where men just get tired, and especially men who don't have to, So we were talking about your pool getting smaller and your things getting smaller. Like if there's a well-off to do male, like he's doing the choosing. So unfortunately, he don't need somebody that's stressing him out and worried about where he's at and this and that. And especially if he's going out and he's grinding and he's getting money and he's not getting into mischief. So for me, I love a busy man. I don't need somebody that's underneath me. I would rather, see you a couple days out the week. That's how I'm gonna fly for the rest of my life. Like I need a couple days just to whoop wop. So I hope that Zadia can respect that this is what she says that she wants. A hardworking man who's able to provide and take care of her in a certain way. Well, he's gonna have limited time. A busy man is out there creating this, so-called thing that you want. So I hope that she can see that he's busy doing real stuff. Now, if his busy is fake busy, then she has every right to push her boundary, because you're playing in my face now, and you do make time for the things that you want. But she saw that as, oh, he's reminding me that he's carving out time. So which one is it? Are you mad that he says, hey, I'm carving out time, or like the fact that you got the time? So I think it's like he damned if we do and he damned if we don't. And if you keep giving a man two shitty options, he's gonna leave, because it's like he can't win with you. But she want him fine, she want him paid, she want him this, she want him that. Like that's a busy man. You want him built, he gonna be in the gym about 3-4 hours a day. That's 3-4 hours he not spending with you. You want him paid, he's spending at least 8 hours a day at work. That's 8 hours that he's not spending with you. So we already up to 10 out of the 24 hours he's not spending with you. You gonna go nuts or are you gonna go get a hobby? You know, so I feel like she needs to go find a hobby and take your busy man. Like, he gonna retire eventually.
I'm with you on that. I'm not even mad at it, to be honest. And, you know, I think with Zadia and Cam, you know, one of the difficult things is finding, first of all, as a man, finding balance when you are trying to be successful and trying to achieve your success, balance of time versus you working. And then I think also for Zadia too, understanding that there's going to be a need for balance, and that he's going to need time to work if you want the soft life. In fact, it's quite funny, Sean, you sent me the podcast Hardly Initiate, which we probably might have to drop a conversation tomorrow about this. You know, and they're talking about 50-50 in a relationship. Well, if you want the guy that does 100-0, he may need to spend a little bit more time being active at work. And I know people like to come with the fantasy that I need to get me a man that can work 3-4 hours in the day and he doesn't do anything else. Listen, money makes money, and people who make money want to make more money. Their greatest fear is losing money. They're going to keep on working. So if that person truly does want to be that kind of provider all the way through, they're going to have to spend a little bit more time working. Now, they need to find a good balance. And I think I said this on my own previous video where I said they need to find protected time. What that means is you choose time that you're protecting and you say, this is the time that we allot to quality time between me and you. And I don't break it because I'm focused on making sure that we bring quality to our relationship. And I put that time and I treasure that time with you. You know what I mean? So that it doesn't become one-sided and then it becomes all about the business, because you can't run a relationship like that. If that's the case, you don't need to be in a relationship. You need to focus on just your business, right? So that's also a very important thing as well. There needs to be a balance on both sides. It can't just be one person. So I did understand where Zadia was coming from, but I also understood where he's coming from too. But I wonder if it's just more than time that is the issue potentially that could be brewing for Cam, right? We see next week's preview where he says, you know what, basically, you know, if you can't deal with it, get on with it. And that tells me there's more to the story than just time. There's something has turned you off, and that's why you're saying deal with it. Because when men like women, I tell you this now, we try our best to try to make things happen. You know, as Mercedes would say, someone will go to the moon for you. You know what I mean? So look, we do try to move mountains for that person. And so I think he's at a space where he may not like her as much as he thought he did, or maybe as much as he was putting on, because that timepiece, you'd start to try and make movements around that. And I don't think he wants to make movements around it. Maybe it was when she said she ain't going to come to NOLA that he felt to himself, why am I going to shift my life around in terms of more time? And you won't even come to know that makes no sense. So maybe that's part of it as well. So, yeah, that's my thoughts on that. Any other thoughts before we wrap up? Any other thoughts before we wrap up? No. All right, cool. Deacon Sean, we're gonna need you to wrap up with want you to wrap it up with a benediction for us as well.
I'm going to give it my level best as usual. I mean, I think we had a great spirited conversation tonight. And hopefully, listen, we had a myriad of different opinions, and hopefully everybody watching, y'all can chew the meat and spit out the bones, right? I think you had some people, agreeing on several topics, and sometimes, we disagree, but take what works for you, and, what doesn't apply, just let it fly. Don't get too caught up, We just telling how we feel and our perspective. So, Ashley, I got some advice for you, our good sis. Listen, Ashley, please, we don't want you sliding down any more walls in 2023, sis. We need you standing upright and against the wall, right? So please read the room, and I think this message is for all of us. We need to read the room, right? There is also verbal and nonverbal communication. If somebody is into you, you should feel it, you should see it, and you should hear it. And if they're not, bid them adieu. We don't need to slide down walls. We don't need to fight for nobody to fight for us that don't want us, and then please ask the tough questions. If something is important to you and you want to know, put it on your list. Don't wait for somebody to disclose it, and don't wait for it to come out in a time that you don't want to know. Ask the questions that you want to know when you want to know them. Vern, lovely woman. make sure you know yourself before you start looking for something in somebody else. Because if you don't know yourself, but you know what you want, it's going to be very difficult to get what you want. So, I think that is very clear. Don't allow your past to handcuff you, and you just spend too much time overcorrecting and not trying to repeat the mistakes of the past, but know yourself and know what you want and what you do bring to the table. No offense, And then Sharice, listen, Sharice, you just get your vision board out there, right? You can have all the things Mercedes told us so eloquently, right? You can shoot for the stars, but if you don't have a space shuttle and if you haven't been trained by NASA, you're going to go up in a puff of smoke. In Houston, we have a problem, no pun intended, right? So please, please, please make sure that your list is grounded first, that it's grounded in a good foundation, and that at the end of the day, the things that you are looking for from somebody that you can also provide. And then sometimes, what are the negotiables, right? We know the non-negotiables, but what are the things that you are willing to negotiate on? And those are the things that you may be able to give up to just have a long-lasting relationship. Back to you, Coach.
Thank you very much, Deacon Sean. Listen, it's been a great conversation tonight. I really appreciate the balanced panel. Ladies, thank you so much, Seaway and Mercedes, for bringing in balance as well. Good laughs and fun. And for the fellas as well, JR, Glenn, and Sean, thank you as well for bringing such great conversation to the table as well. It's been good fun. I've actually enjoyed the last 2 hours discussing the show as well. So many more panels to come in the coming weeks and stuff. So but yeah, audience members, thank you so much. If you haven't done so already, make sure you like, you share, you subscribe, you click on that bell button for notification of the uploads, and we will see you again very, very soon for another panel. Much appreciation. Hey, listen, don't be sliding down no walls in 2023. We weren't climbing them, okay? We weren't breaking them, and we ain't sliding down them this year, okay? All right, we ain't gonna do it, okay? All right, in 2024, we ain't building walls either, okay? So listen, that's it. We've been doing some good work over the past few years, and I don't want to see y'all slide down no walls as well. But let me just love my little video for you guys. This is a representation of slide down the wall. This is what it feels like. It's here. It's a good old pep talk. Ashley, good old pep talk. We love it. Appreciate you guys. Still up, still later. We'll see you again very, very soon. Much appreciation.